the issues. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters. Your thoughts count. Your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not. Let me hear you loud. Proud. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters. Your thoughts count. Your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not. Let me hear you loud. Proud. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters. Your thoughts count. Your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not. Let me hear you loud. Proud. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters. Your thoughts count. Your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not. Let me hear you loud. Proud. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices. We gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters. Your thoughts count. Your opinion.
We like that.
Welcome to Neutral Voices, the place where your voice matters. This is our Thursday Voice of the People segment.
What's happening?
Yes,
y'all?
and,
What's
and listen, I
happening?
know they are very excited tonight,
Yes.
but listen, do not forget to click like and share, subscribe to our YouTube page, and if you learn something new, let us know.
Yes.
So
yes.
we had a good conversation. Was it
It was
informative?
interesting.
Did we,
Yes.
we learn some things?
Yes. We
Yeah.
did.
Okay, so Wednesday Night Live, we had a conversation about hate. Sounds simple, but it's really not. There's a lot to hate.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that
Yes.
sounds weird. There's a lot to hate.
Yes.
But listen, so we're going to talk a little bit more about hate. And I want to know, how deep is your hate? How deep is your hate? So stick around, hang out with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How deep is your hate?
How
That's
deep
a great question.
is that?
Man.
You know, and so sometimes, especially for people that don't believe they have any hate in them, they're so precious until they get behind that car. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
just going super slow, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is the only lane. I got 4 or 5 miles to go, and then this thing comes over
Right.
you,
Right.
whatever that is.
Right.
And so, you know, rage, hate, whatever you want to call it. But when you think about yourself, so tonight we want you to own it. This is not just about other people.
Right.
Too many times we're having a conversation, just like sometimes in church, and the pastor say, "No, the word is for you.
Mm-hmm.
You made it here.
Right.
First, let's say the word is for you. If you want to share it with somebody else, that's a different story." So tonight, let's own it. Let's not run from it, and let's be accountable for ourselves as we share and help our community.
Yes. Yes.
So let me ask the question again: how deep is your hate?
My hate's shallow then,
And what makes you say so?
because I have no reason to hate no one. Hate is a strong word,
Mm-hmm.
and as you know, she read the definition last night. That should let you know how deep and how strong hate is.
Let's get that definition again before you go there, because I may have to blow those glasses off your face tonight. We're gonna talk about hate. So Jill, let's get into that definition again.
Hate Intense hostility and aversion, usually deriving from fear, anger, or a sense of injury. Extreme disgust. That word, just disgust.
Yes, that
I
word
know
right
you
there
It's
said-
ranges.
that word.
No,
That
it's
word.
extreme.
Extreme. I was gonna say
Disgust.
extreme.
I mean, if you have that much,
Yes.
you extremely disgusted by somebody,
Hmm.
that's strong.
Mm-hmm.
That's super strong. Honestly, if you hate someone, that person got more control over you than anything
Yeah.
because they're bringing out something out of you. They got control of your emotions.
Right.
And I'm glad you said control because sometimes people can hate a person so much that if that person walks in the room or that
Mhm.
person's walking on this particular side of the street, they will actually walk to the other side
Yeah.
Yes.
of the room. So that you say control.
It's
That
control.
person,
Yes.
You
that
got-
person is actually controlling you.
controlling
They're
your
not even
movement.
trying to.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So-
And they don't even know. A lot of times when you have that deep disgust for someone or something, let's say a person, that person most of the time has no idea. So your hate is not affecting them in any way, shape, or form.
Correct.
They have the power over you.
Correct.
So, I mean, I think a lot of that is internalized. When
It
you're carrying
is.
that hate around, the person that you're disgusted by isn't. They're
And-
walking around just fine.
And the
That's
funny
right.
part about it, 9 times out of 10, you hate that person for no apparent reason.
Or you've been hating them so long you forgot why,
Why you hate
Right.
them?
Or
you
you
know what
hate
I'm saying?
in the first place.
So honestly, it's pointless.
And that's why I said so it goes a lot deeper
Yeah.
than you think. So I just want to, Clarence, I know you got this look like
Yeah.
you want to talk about
Yeah.
it. So okay, go ahead. We're gonna let you.
He
get
didn't
in
even
there
raise
real
his
quick.
hand tonight.
Well, I was being polite. I was
Wow.
being polite. I got reprimanded.
You
so
did.
Somebody hated on my.
Disgust.
I saw his canine
Yeah.
sensors.
Now, I understand the hate of a person where you say that's shallow, but I could say I do have a hate, and it's not for a person.
It's needles.
Okay.
No, that's a fear. That's a fear.
Oatmeal?
But remember, we got
Chicken?
into
Yeah,
fear
yeah.
and hate being
Well,
connected.
Yeah, that could be.
They in the same
They in
room?
the same
Same
family.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hate neither.
ballpark.
Yeah.
But no, we should have an extreme disgust and an extreme disgust and a very strong hate for some of the situations that we continue to put ourselves in this community.
That's
Okay.
right.
And
Okay.
within our
Mhm.
families and things like that.
That's right.
Sometimes we allow things to go. And Doc V, I know you gave us a scripture last night about what God hates, but here's a scripture that we fall into a lot of times that permeates some of the negative where we should hate those things. When it says love covers a multitude of sin.
Yes,
So that means we just overlook a lot of stuff.
that's right. That's good.
Yeah. Where some stuff we should hate. And I said this at one point in time before. We shouldn't hate the drug dealer
Mm-hmm.
because that's a person, but we should hate his drug dealing in our neighborhood.
So don't hate the sinner, but hate the sin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We should hate that our neighborhood is being overlooked by our governments, and sometimes,
That's right.
we're the last on the list to get certain things.
So there's
Mm.
not enough disgust over important things.
There you
right,
go.
Right. We cover up and we hate some of the more trivial things.
Mm.
Like you say, I hate E because he got a brand new Cadillac, and
Yeah.
I'm walking, and E
Mhm.
worked hard for that Cadillac, but I
Yes.
just hate
Keep speaking
E.
that into existence.
Yeah, but I
Well,
just
yeah, because and I just want to say where you coming from with that. Last night we spoke about if you didn't see last night's show, our Wednesday live, we talked about going beneath the surface of hate. And so as we begin to look at what actually creates hate,
yes,
we talked about jealousy
Jealousy,
and
envy.
envy. And so when you talk about those material things,
yes,
those are true. I mean, I know people and I can say, can I say it about myself? Let me look because I said, how deep is your hate?
Mhm.
How deep is my hate?
Right.
So, let me just, be clear and see as far as myself, have I ever been envious or jealous? And I'll say in my lifetime, I have to admit that I have.
Right.
I think everybody has.
everybody.
And that's why I said a lot of times we don't own it, but I can say that I've looked at and growing up, I've looked at young ladies that I felt, they were obviously prettier, or their hair was prettier, or their skin was prettier. And growing up, I always dealt with like acne, and it wasn't that everybody else noticed it, but I knew about
Right.
it. And so in my mind, I hated not other people,
Mm-hmm.
but I hated myself.
Right.
And so, so just now today is the first time I'm ever really speaking it out loud.
But that's
and,
great.
and,
that's
and
owning it.
realize,
That's owning it.
yeah, and even taking a step back and looking at that and then saying, thank God I'm not that person anymore, that I have grown and I have matured and I love myself. I love the skin that I'm in.
Right.
But, and so I just say that because a lot of times we are in denial, even about self-hate. And last night we talked a lot about what self-hate looks like.
Yes.
And so that's how come we're going a little bit deeper with hate and asking a question, how deep is your hate?
I got a
This is
question,
Neutral
though.
Voices, and thank you for tuning in and watching. Continue to hang with us as we have good conversation with great people.
think
What you
Ethan
got,
got a
E?
question.
Got a question. Can hate be a good thing?
It can. It can be. What do you think, guys?
I think that it depends. You bring up when you don't feel good about yourself, if you walk into a room and you are not feeling, like you said, you're not feeling attractive, you're not feeling successful, you're just feeling down, you are going to project that onto everybody else. So all of a sudden you're going to assume that they're thinking these things about you, that they hate you, those people probably don't even give two about you at all when you walk into a room. It's all you. It's all how you feel. But sometimes if I feel like I'm not going out there and being successful quick enough, but she is. I'm going to be envious of that. So maybe that will motivate me to get to that spot. So I don't really know if that hate can motivate.
That's why I said I think it could be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that because I was a competitor.
Okay.
In sports, I hate losing.
Mm-hmm.
If you beat me in a race this week, darn long sure I'm coming to crush you next week.
Oh my goodness, I
And
love it.
I mean, that's how. I mean, it just fueled me. I hate
Yes.
losing, and I've always been a competitor in about anything, every person of my life.
Yes.
So that's why I asked that question: can hate be used for good?
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand. Hate is a good thing, and it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
So if you use it as a curse, that means you're not using it in the proper form. That's how I look at it.
If you look at it, yeah, from
I mean,
that perspective.
yeah, you cannot.
I got you.
I cannot sit back and say I hate Clarence because he got a big body Benz and I ain't got one. I'm gonna say I don't like Clarence. He got that big body Benz. Now I gotta go get one 2 years older than him. I mean, newer than his.
Right.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
That's what people do.
So someone can hate on you.
No,
I'm just saying
it's not
because-
about hating on me. It's about okay. Clarence is fueling.
He's
your
fueling
competitor.
you from a positive
From-
perspective.
yeah, from
right?
a-
But a lot of people will look at that or that statement that you made. A lot of people will look at that as a negative.
Yeah.
No,
Because
it
they
can't-
would think that you're competing with him and now you feel like you got to outdo him.
I gotta step
And
my
so-
game up.
Right. And I definitely see. And that's why I
Yes.
wanted to clarify the way you're saying it. You're just saying, hey, now I got to step up. No hate against him.
Right.
You're not getting ready to mistreat him.
No.
But you
I gotta
just
step
saying
up.
you looking at him, and that's almost a form of admiration.
Right. I want that.
Yes.
I'm gonna get that.
Yes. So envy, I think, is that dark side. When you laying back and you envious to the point where you're almost stalking this
Right,
person,
right.
and you almost begin to hate them because they have something or that you don't, or they look a certain way, and you begin to envy and then jealousy, and it gets ugly from there.
Well, can hate be a positive thing? Yes. As I was saying, you get to a point where you hate something, you change it. Think about it. You hate being
Yes.
treated a certain way in a relationship, X, Y, and Z. So if you hate being in that particular relationship, you change it. Hate, like I was saying, in our community, we got to hate some of the negative stuff in our community to change it.
Right.
That's absolutely
We
Correct.
really have to
Yes.
Because
hate it.
didn't they have a Mothers Against Drunk Drivers or
Yes,
something?
yes.
I forget what
Mad,
it was.
yeah,
Mad.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot to that story
Right.
behind the scene
mo-
and what
yeah.
actually gave birth to that.
Right.
But it was the anger and the madness, the the hurt
Right.
that turned into, I would say, hate
Yes.
for these type of people. And so
Well, I mean,
that
I would
created
think,
mad.
I think I would say it created anger
Yes.
and then create hate.
Well, I don't know, because
look at
there's
the
a lot of
definition,
people,
yeah.
like even like right now, how I feel about some people that's driving drunk after my sister
Mhm.
you
And
know,
I
it was
understand
in that accident. So, it could be hate. Before we continue in this awesome conversation, I want to invite you guys, our viewers, listeners, to leave a comment or question, because this is Thursday Voice of the People.
Yes.
It is all about your voice. So conversate with us.
Can I chime in with you, Dr.
Yes.
Viva, and with E?
Yes.
E, you're right. And we're saying the same thing, because you ask if hate can be positive. Yes. And that's what I'm saying. We got to get to a point where all the negative, all the bad stuff. I mean, Doc V, of course you were saying you hated internally your acne. But it got to a point where you decided that you had to make a change about whatever it is, be it your diet, be it your cosmetics, being the soap or whatever. So yes, if hate elicits change, yes, it's a great thing. It's an amazing thing if we can get hate to elicit change. But, and I only say that by definition, because if it's an extreme disgust of a situation,
Right.
we should want to change. And that's what we've been talking about. Like, let's be honest. How many of us are tired of what's going on in our communities, with
All
our
of us.
schools?
Yes.
So,
Majority of us.
right. So our extreme disgust should make us want to go to school board meetings, go to PTA meetings, go to city council meetings. Our extreme disgust should make us want to have those changes.
Right. Your hate has to be enough in those situations.
Yes.
But it obviously it isn't. And as we sit here and we analyze, jealousy, envy, hate, everything, it almost, as I'm absorbing it, sounds ridiculous, because we can have anything that we want. We can have anything that the next person has.
Right.
Anybody has the ability to get to where someone else is. So having that envy isn't getting you any closer to that Benz. All it's doing is putting you in a dark hole, filling your heart with hate.
Even if it's temporary.
Right,
You're
exactly.
right.
So I mean, as we sit and speak of it, it sounds silly, because if I
Yes.
want what you have, I want to go get it, and I
That's right.
can.
That's right.
And everybody can.
You can, and that's and as for, like, speaking for myself, we're making this thing personal here. But speaking, about myself, when I realized that I had an issue, and the dermatologist just wasn't working out. I mean, I felt like my mom was wasting her money. So what I did was I began to do my own research about my skin, about melanin skin. And that is how I began to help myself.
Right.
And so you're right. So I'm looking like, hey, what can I do to make things better for myself? And Jill, like you said, some people may choose to stay in a dark place and feel down and out. And remember, we talked about that self-hate, having those pity parties.
Right.
You're not good enough. I didn't want to do that,
Right.
and I refused to do that.
And most
And
of those people that we see that have things that we want worked to get those things.
That's right.
So you don't have a Benz if you
Just
people
right.
just sitting around.
I
But
look at it like
they
this.
did
I'm
something
not,
to get there.
I'm not just saying materialistic things.
Right.
I look at it, I just use that as a
Yes.
illustration. But
Well, I got you.
my biggest
Yeah.
thing is I would want to sit up under Clarence and learn how to maneuver like he maneuvered. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
That's why I
if
said
I
it's
got
a
a
form of
business,
admiration.
yeah, I got a business. Me and him both got the same type of business, but his is up on a higher plateau. I'm not gonna hate on him. I'm gonna be like, ooh, this dude I gotta get above.
He got
him.
where, he's where I'm
Right.
trying to
Get to
or beyond.
So
Right, that's
and
right.
then people look at that as hate. Oh, you hating on him? No, I'm not hating on this brother.
right.
I'm congratulating this brother. Now my thing is,
Yes.
I gotta grab a hold of his coattail.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hopefully Clarence is not gonna be like, nah, bro, I ain't gonna let you ride with me. And that's
that's
one
the
of the
thing.
biggest
That's
things
perfect.
that happens when I try to reach and grab his coattails and say, hey, I want to learn how to do what you do. No, I'm not gonna teach you.
Get up off me.
Right.
Yeah, get up
Right.
off me.
That's right. Some
And that's
people do
beautiful.
that. Some
Don't
people
hate,
do that.
collaborate.
That's
Yeah,
it.
but that you hit on it, and we talked about self-hate. And if we look at it in our community, that's one of the prime examples of self-hate. Well, we don't teach people how we got where we were.
Okay.
Think about it. Doc V, you're a beautician. How you get your business started? Well, I got out there and I grinded. I did this, I did that. Okay, Doc V, but what was your plan? Oh, every day I got up, I did this, I affirmed. Okay,
Yes.
but how did you functionally put that together? Well, I was out there, I was doing.
You're not telling
Don't
me
want to
anything.
say. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So the hate is that I don't want to tell you my
right.
secrets because I don't want you
Yeah.
to compete with me.
Right. I'm so glad that's not me.
Right. I'm just using
But
I
it's
know,
a lot
but
of people.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get
But
it.
that's a lot of
but when
people.
you
A lot of
start talking
people.
about teaching and basically reaching out, reaching down, helping, do you believe that hate spills over from generation to generation?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
talking about within the family. You know,
Yes.
your family. Okay, so let's talk about that for a little bit because
I mean-
I believe that people deal with that.
I mean, TT LaDown, don't mess with her. She do such and such and such and such.
Okay.
So if I keep telling my son or my daughter what TT is into,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, no, you don't want to be around her. You don't want to be around her. Well, why wouldn't you want to be around your auntie? You know what I'm saying? So now it's just like, now that's all they know is, nah, my dad said, I don't need to be around you.
Okay.
Come
We gotta.
on.
Ooh. We gotta stop that. We
Yeah,
can't
it's a
do
lot
that.
of, it's a lot of people and a lot of families are like that.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, I grew up in, our family is tight knit, and we didn't have that issue. But I've been in relationships with where I've seen, their family like, no, we don't fool with them. But that's your mom's sister or that's your uncle.
Yeah.
No, we don't fool with them.
Well, and sometimes if people say that person may, because we talked about some of the things that God dislikes or hates, and so haughty eyes,
Looking down on somebody.
yeah, looking down on somebody else, that may be exactly what that person is doing.
Right. And also, we talked last night about how it starts at home. And we have a lot of communities where self-hate has been embedded because certain communities, this community, for example, any community with people of color have been almost programmed to feel a certain way about themselves. So it's very hard to break that cycle. I've been around a lot of people that are professional, Christian, and I was amazed at the conversations that they had about people of different races. So if you are talking to your child, 4 or 5 years old, letting them know that we don't go into black neighborhoods because they're criminals or this, they're that, what is little Johnny going to think?
Right.
He's never going to go into that neighborhood. Little Johnny's going to tell his son the same thing.
Right.
That's even though it's not blatant hate, that is hate that is embedded.
That's right. And Jill, that spills over into hate speech.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize some of the conversation you're having with people, the things you're saying, you're manipulating other people's actions and thoughts and
Right.
love
Right.
for
Yeah.
other people or things.
Yeah.
That's, hate speech in a whole different
And
way.
like we talked about the KKK, they had an ad, they're handing out flyers. So those members, I guarantee, came from families that were in the KKK. You don't just wake up one day and be like, I want to be a racist KKK
burn a
member. I want to
cross.
wear a sheet.
That's
no,
it.
your dad wore a sheet, your uncle wore a
wore a
sheet,
sheet.
grandpa wore a sheet, your son's
That's
going to wear
right.
a
Now
sheet.
it's just a different sheet
Yeah.
It's a different sheet.
Yes.
made by.
Yes. That's a.
It's an ugly sheet. But I mean, that's how it works.
That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. But
Man.
Can hate be passed on generationally?
Yes,
Or just passed on in general?
in general.
I would say yes. And I'm going to flip the script because you got to look at this at a different angle.
Okay.
Now, I got to say this sensitively, but I'm going to say it directly
Okay.
because,
Let me take a
you
sip.
you can get canceled when you hurt somebody's feelings, but I'm going to say it directly, but I'm going to try to say it. Now, as E affectionately call them, the alphabet people, the elemental P people. That's what E calls them. We get hated on now because we don't agree fully with what they say. So they take what we say and turn it around and say we're hating, but they hate how, because I said this, we were having this conversation last week. Laverne Cox, I don't know if anybody know who Laverne Cox is. She's a transgender actress that played on, I think, the show The Orange is the New Black. She said, in her words, that if a straight man has a problem dating a gay or trans man, that there's something wrong with him inside.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with a straight man inside. That's that hate speech.
Right.
You making
Right.
me because I don't agree with what you say or what you do, you're making me
Be
seem
the
like
bad
a
guy.
man, but you're hated. The
Right.
hate is actually coming from you. I'm
Right.
not saying I'm hating. I
Okay.
just
I don't
just
agree. I don't agree with you. So
I
I don't
just
agree
don't
with your
agree with you.
lifestyle.
I
I don't.
don't-
Yep.
I mean, there's no. You cannot sit there and say, "Oh, well, if you don't like a transgender man, you, bruh, first and
Yeah.
foremost,
Okay.
let's get one thing straight. I can't even say it because it's
I
going
was
it's
gonna
Here
going
it
to
comes.
I was
was
gonna
gonna-
say,
Here
you,
it
woo!
comes.
you better not refer to her as a bruh.
No, I'm just saying, bruh. Bruh, I'm
listen.
sorry. I'm just. It's real talk. I could care less because at the end of the day, you cannot get mad at me because I don't agree with you.
Right. And we need to
That's right.
stop telling people how they should feel about
Exactly.
Right.
situations.
And that's what happens when we don't agree with situations. That breeds hate.
That's
but
right.
but the hate, they make it seem like the ones that disagreeing is the ones that's hating, but the hate is coming from you because you trying to make me feel lesser of a person.
No, you trying to make me
Because
feel
you
less
don't
of a
agree
man.
with-
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because you don't agree with them.
And that's not
That's
that. I
right.
mean, that's more hate than anything
That's
in the
right.
world.
Right.
That's right.
I found something. I just want to read this excerpt really quick. So, we talk about how hate has a lot to do with things that have happened in history, even if we weren't around when it happened. So, I found this and it says, "We have yet to mentally break away from the systematic reinforcement of generational self-hate that began while many of our ancestors were being transported like cattle to their slave masters. They not only wanted to enslave our bodies, but also our minds. So, even if you weren't a part of that generation, your ancestors were, your relatives were, all of that is passed down. So knowing history is extremely important because a lot of this is embedded. It's
That's
a
right.
plan, it's intentional, it's a program."
That's right.
Well,
And
it's
we have a comment from Pastor William Curry.
Hey, Pastor
What's
Curry.
up, Pastor?
Hey,
how you doing?
Okay. This says, this is in relations to generation curses. It says that also is a source of how systemic racism is perpetrated or perpetuated from generation to generation.
Yes.
Who then fills the roles in said governmental systems?
That's true.
Mhm.
That's true. Because I was just watching something, and I'm glad he mentioned that. Because think about it. Some of the policies, and we talk about systemic racism, some of the policies from 1887
Mm-hmm.
are still on the books, are still active. They have not changed. They changed some of the wording, but we're still under some of those guidelines.
Absolutely.
So, and what happens is most politicians are family politicians.
Yep.
So if I you know my politics, and like Jill said, it might not be the sheet,
Mm-hmm.
but it'd be the sheet.
Mhm.
You follow
It'd
what
be
I'm
the
saying?
I
sheet.
got you.
It might not be the sheet, but it'll be the sheet. So
Yes.
therefore, you put yourself under the sheet and you follow those things and you keep perpetuating some of those systems that have been in place for years, and you don't try to
Absolutely.
change them.
You
Right.
don't want to
Absolutely.
change.
Right.
Absolutely. Listen, hey, especially if you're just tuning in, this is Neutral Voices, and this is our Voice of the People segment. So we're looking for comments, questions from you, our listeners, viewers. Meanwhile, we're having great conversation with awesome, amazing people. And so one of the things I want to touch on real quick, I want to share a few of the reasons why people hate people.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about last night self-hate,
Mhm.
why you hate yourself. And so here's a few things, and we've already shared them, but jealousy and envy, I'll say, definitely leading the list here.
Yes.
Watch this. You need more time alone. You are so overwhelmed by people and what you're doing with people in the community, especially if you are an introvert. You need to find time to restore yourself and to be with yourself, or you could begin to hate those people around you. Another one, when you don't understand or agree with someone. That was one that we talked a lot about. The obvious, when someone hurts you, harasses you, or embarrasses
Can you put a pin in that one, Doc?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
you and I think off camera one day we had this conversation about traumatic hate.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the hate that, and it. If you ever seen a child that has been molested,
Mm-hmm.
self-hate
Yes.
permeates in them.
Mhm.
But then sometimes they lash out at hate for other people because they have that frustration
That's right.
that build up that they've been hurt. And what do we say? Hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
So
Because at that point, that fear has turned into a form of hate.
yeah, and even just the genuine hate that you tend to hate men, you tend to hate women,
Right.
you tend to hate,
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't even want to be
Right.
around
That's
Yeah.
that
a
disgust
male,
word.
alone for whatever reason because of the fear factor that's
Yes.
connected to
Yes.
your past experience. That's right. A couple more, because we hold grudges and we haven't forgiven people.
A lot of families.
So we're
even
walking
talk
around
about
hating.
families.
Boy.
We're walking around hating people. Your profession or your job,
Mhm.
especially if you're in sales or customer service, those
Mhm.
types of jobs where you have to deal with trying to satisfy people, and
Right.
it can create tension and conflict.
Whoever
Right.
said the customer's always right, that's a lie.
And that doesn't work in all industries, but yeah. And
That's
so
a
then you
lie.
begin to hate people at a certain point. And so you need to limit your social interactions with
Yes.
people. You need to set boundaries. So some of the reasons you hate people is because you haven't set boundaries
Right.
about what type of people are allowed in
Right.
your circle.
Yes.
So your yes can't always be yes and yes all the time.
Right.
Sometimes you're saying yes when you really don't want to.
You gotta
So
know,
you
yeah.
you have to know when to say no. And then the other one is your preconceived notion of someone. You already have your mind made up about that person. You've never met them.
Right.
That
Right. Never met them.
that is all that is the basis of all prejudice, all racism, all classism, all of that. We have a preconceived notion that black people steal.
Yes.
All white people are in the KKK. We have
Yep.
these preconceived notions. So yes, I think that. But one of the things that she said is the jealousy and envy. And I want to talk to our younger community, young brothers. Y'all got to stop being jealous of your fellow men and start working together. That's why a lot of this hate is going on. We see these murder rates going up. We hate somebody because they stole our bike when we were 10 years old, and now we're 28, still mad about that bike. There's some things we need to get over and we need to change.
Well, I mean, that's right, but a lot of it is just strictly conversation, and see, that's where a lot of hate stem from. It's the lack of the conversation.
Yeah,
That's right.
And I'm a ruffle a few feathers too. Leaders, be it political, be it spiritual, be it business, be it whatever in our community, y'all got to put that animosity aside. Y'all got to put that hate aside for us
That's
to
right.
move forward.
Right.
But you
Y'all
said
need to-
Man.
who? Say that
I
again.
said
Who?
the political leaders,
Okay.
the spiritual leaders.
Stop right
Okay.
there. That's
Wait.
the main one.
Okay,
right there.
wait.
Boom.
Well,
Boom.
wait,
Just-
before you go anywhere,
Let
I
me
just
in,
want to read this
coach.
comment
Okay.
real quick. This comment. So thank you, Celie Shackleford. This comment says churches need to do more to speak out on the racial division
Mhm.
in the community.
Well,
Thank you. for
you know,
that comment.
Sundays is the most
Segregated.
segregated
Yes.
day of
Absolutely.
the week.
Yes.
But come on, you just said a mouthful, and it's crazy where your spiritual leaders can't even stand together. A lot of them, I can't say all of them, not gonna say all of
Sure.
y'all, but a lot of y'all can't stand together for one reason or another. And you're supposed to be preaching, and we are supposed to be following y'all, and y'all supposed to be teaching love, but you can't even love the fellow man that preaches the word right with you.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
And it's crazy.
On the same mission,
On the
trying to get
same
to the
mission.
same
Yeah,
destination.
And
So-
and it's crazy where you expect for real men to sit up underneath you and listen to you and follow you
Yeah.
when you can't go to the church right next door because you don't like the way that pastor his car look, or you don't
But
like the
you-
way his church is bigger than yours.
That's right.
That's
Now,
why our
see-
community is not together.
And so Celie, that is basically what I believe is being said here, and feeling like the church needs to speak up on that
Yes.
racial
Yes.
division, and so that's why we feel a certain way, and we get so angry and almost upset. and we hate that. But what is interesting to me is that so many people continue and they stay seated in those very churches where love is not demonstrated.
Right.
And so
Man.
I say, ask yourself that question.
Right.
Are you in the right place?
Right.
Why are you there if that church is not leading with love and you see a demonstration that looks like hate?
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to you need to question yourself.
And you guys just brought up the fact that people hate people that they've never even met. And I ask you, if you are. The other day I was talking to someone and they said, racism is dead, and I said, really, where? Where is it dead? Because I can tell you that I had a black employee, probably about 60 years old, and we walked into a local business, and the owner, the worker, would not speak to him and kind of followed him around. So I went in after, spoke to me, can I help you? Blah, blah, blah.
Were you at Macy's?
I said, I'm with him. I'm with him. So we walked out. We were going to buy a sump pump or something. I don't know. But racism is not dead. And I ask you, if you are teaching your children to hate a black man, how many interactions have you actually had with a black man? When have you sat down with a person that doesn't look like you? When have you had a conversation? So you're going to hold that hate. You need to put yourself out there, educate yourself. Otherwise, that hate is just going to snowball generation by generation.
That's it.
You
Like
cannot hate a whole group of people that you've never even met.
That's right.
Period.
It's just a lack of, like I said, it's a lack of conversation.
It is. You have to put
Literally,
yourself out
it's
there.
a lack of conversation
That's
because everybody, every white person ain't bad, every black person ain't bad, every Mexican ain't this.
People are people.
People are people.
And
and we the same, and it's we fight the same struggle
Yes.
Yep.
on a daily basis.
Every day.
But don't understand why we fighting the same struggle. It's just that lack of conversation, that lack of communication. If we sit back and have that conversation and that communication with each other,
That's right.
you will understand. We'll understand each
That
other
is
and how to
absolutely-
move
That
together as one.
There's
That
no
is
other
so
way.
key. That is so key. And I could tell Clarence has something. He's reaching forward
Yeah,
tonight, not
yeah,
up. So
yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, I'm proud of you for not
And-
raising your
and
hand.
You gave the solution, but the problem is they keep the problem in our face. They don't want us to know the solution.
What does that look like, Clarence?
The-
What do you
the-
see?
All right, okay. Let's look at this. The media, the young lady, Gwen Berry.
Mm-hmm.
She protested her the flag. They say that's unpatriotic. But January 6th, they stormed the Capitol. Now, Gwen Berry is an abomination per the media. But these people that stormed the Capitol are just misled
Patriots.
citizens.
They
Right.
patriots.
Patriots.
Right.
So the media and Doc V, even about even about self-hatred and things like that. The reason we have that is the media tell me that I gotta be 7 foot tall. I gotta be, in women, you gotta be a size 3. So the problem is the media
No
keeps
size 3.
all
Size 3
the-
with one in front.
but the
Well,
media
size
keeps
3.
all that, and it's a distraction. So the hate stays there. Like I was
Yeah.
saying, the LGBTQ or and whatever else they are, the media puts out something that I would say, and they'll blow it up, and then they'll bring it in, and they'll make it sound like I said it hateful, and I didn't say it hateful. So I'm just saying. It's programmed. Jill mentioned it earlier. It's a whole program to
Yes,
the
it
system.
is.
They don't want us to not hate
Yes.
because think about it. If we unify, how strong would we be?
That's right.
Man.
And people want this. More people want this than those who don't. Because
right.
the media does not show you different races getting together because that's not what they want. They don't
No.
they don't want any of us to get together. The other day, I shared a video and it was a black gentleman who was helping 2 little white boys in the rain
Yeah,
on their
on the
bicycles.
bicycle, yeah.
So I posted it on one of my other pages and within an hour there were 452 likes on there. So don't tell me that people don't understand that the love is out there, but that is not the kind of love that the media is portraying.
That
That's
movie,
right. That's right.
Jesus and the Black Messiah.
Judas to the black.
Judas and the Black Messiah. If you looked at that movie, my man went to all the other cultures and explained, and we're fighting the same fight.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Why not stand together?
So
As
important.
soon as he got them together, got them all standing together, that's when they want to kill him, put him in jail, and kill him. Because the simple fact, the thought process is if we stand together and we fight together, the strength is in numbers.
And you just said something and led right into this last point I want to make before we get out of here. And it was something I mentioned last night about why do Africans hate Black Americans? And so you just talked about getting with other cultures. And I have said before on the show, being proximate with one another. And I believe we have a comment. This is the voice of the people. And so I want to hit this comment first, and then I'm going to talk about this real quick.
We do have a comment, and I just want to thank everybody that is watching. Pastor Curry, Byram Trice, Ashley Matthews, Bill Martin. We do have a comment. Terrence Hardy, hello. We do have a comment from C. Lee Shackelford, and he says, the most racist places are also the most segregated. We don't know enough about each other to hate. Exactly.
And there you go.
Exactly.
Now watch this. Perfect. And so watch this. So here's some points, not obviously not all of them, but these are misconceptions. Somebody believes that Africans hate Black Americans because they compare things too much,
Right.
sizing things up, what you have versus what they have, starting businesses and taking jobs from them, excluding the natives when they come over to Africa. Those are some reasons. The Africans believe the media too much. So what they see portrayed on TV, just kind of like what we do.
Right.
We see and think that, jungles and lions and tigers and bears, and so those type of things. So the negative news, Americans are cheap. They believe that they leave small tips. That's their experience.
Right.
These are, again, misconceptions. Americans, these are Black Americans, think that Africans are bush people, that all of them,
Jungle people,
are in the jungle, and then that they get automatic advantage. Think about how we feel about certain cultures that come over here. We're angry, we're mad. They get all these different breaks, etc. So they get these automatic advantages when they move over here, and they think that Americans have lots of money and they don't want to share. Those are, and again, I said misconceptions because those things are not true. So what we do need to do is we need to get proximate with each other cultures, have a conversation so that we can really learn the truth about each other.
Right. There's so much work to do. And before we get out of here, I just want to say that our Neutral Voices will be joining us here soon to talk a little bit more about the role that they play in the community. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yes.
Right. Yes,
Awesome.
yes. Well, let me end you out
I
like
was going to
this.
say, yes. We have something from E. Yes.
Hate is hate. That's this. It says hate. It has caused a lot of problems in the world, but solved none yet.
Amen.
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 All right. Well, with that thought in mind, we're here to see what we can solve. And so hopefully starting by telling you to forget hate and learn how to love. And as I said before, lead with love. This is Neutral Voices. Thank you so much for hanging with us. And hopefully we'll see you back tomorrow night. We're going to be hanging with the youth. So see you soon. Bye-bye.